So a special welcome to Alana, and we're looking forward to hearing you, but there's I'll hand this over to John, who will make a special welcome. John?
It's my pleasure to welcome Alana Hurdle. She is from the Truro Club, and that is where one of our previous members has relocated to, and that is Terry Pook. So Alana is the past president and current chair of the Rotary Cares Committee of the Rotary Club of Truro. For the last 2 years, she was chair of the training committee for Rotary District 7820, which is comprised of 45 clubs throughout Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, Newfoundland and Labrador, and St. Pierre and Miquelon. When she's not doing Rotary work, she may be found at her day job at the local Community Business Development Corporation, where she helps small business owners through financing, training, and advice. In her spare time, she is a musical theater enthusiast. Alana?
Thank you so much, John. I always laugh because when is my spare time? Exactly. As we all are familiar with, you have a work and you have a day job, and then you have your Rotary job. It's wonderful. I'm so happy to be with you this evening. Thanks so much for the invitation. I'm just going to share my screen and we'll dig into this. Oh, there we are. All right. Can everyone see that? Oh.
Good, Alana.
You good? Okay. This is the artist rendering that we had done a few months ago. It's not exact anymore, but it's such a pretty picture. I thought everyone should see it. And our mandate for this project is to build a positive, forward-looking sense of community in Portapique through revitalizing the Riverside Community Hall. So as was everyone in the hours and days following the tragedy in Portapique, we were shocked and dismayed and shaken to our core, quite frankly. Portapique itself, I live in downtown Truro, and it's less than 30 minutes drive. So it is quite literally in my backyard. And I've said more than one time, even though I didn't grow up in this community, I grew up in that community on a different coast in the province. It's a very small, picturesque oceanside community with a few hundred residents year round, and then it swells in the summer with cottagers. And it's an idyllic Sunday afternoon drive to drive through there. So when we all woke up on that Sunday morning to hear what was still unfolding at that point, it was beyond comprehension, truly. And when we started to find out the details later on that Sunday, and realized one of our members lives on Portapique Beach Road. And by the grace of God, he and his wife were spared that night. So it hit home even more. And even though I didn't personally know any of the individuals who died, I know their family members, I know their coworkers, I know their friends. So there truly is no one in this community who was not touched by the events that happened that night. And it, in many ways, has forever shaken our comfort level and our smugness that these things don't happen in Canada, much less Nova Scotia. And it has really made us appreciate more, I believe, that which we do have and the beauty that is around us. So our regular weekly meetings for our club are Mondays at lunchtime. And as we learned of all of the details and the numbers were still adding up that first Monday following the event, we still chose to gather by Zoom, and we had a great conversation and lots of tears about what it meant. And I laid in bed that night, that Monday night, and I'm gonna curse for a moment, but I remember laying there thinking, this is bullshit. There's got to be something we can do, because forever after, Portapique will be known as the location of the largest mass murder in Canadian history. And I could not live with myself if I didn't do something to help change that. So the next day I called an executive meeting and we discussed what the options would be. And at that point we were thinking probably education funds, scholarships, help for the children. And we began doing some research and contacting hospice and the municipal office and the RCMP and anyone we could talk to figure out what might make sense. And Andrew, who lives in Portapique, as I said, reached out a couple of days later to say he wanted to be involved. And I'm so thankful that he is. Besides being an amazing human being, he could really, he lived that experience. So he could relate, he could liaise with the community members for us so that it wasn't, you know, a bunch of townies coming in to tell the country folk what that we were going to do. So he and one of our other members, we very quickly struck a committee. I think by the next Monday, we had a committee of 10 people who wanted to do something, and we started doing research. So Andrew and one of our other members, Matthew, started with one-on-one conversations. They went to people's homes and sat out on the picnic table and had a conversation about what did this mean to them? What did this mean to the community? What would they like to see? If there was something that we could do to change it, to turn that negative spotlight into something positive, what would they like to see? They had a whole bunch of ideas and we compiled everything. And then we held a focus group on July 8th, I believe it was, of last year. We brought all those people together in the existing community hall, which is this little building right here. And we sat them down and said, let's do some blue sky thinking. And I think the first thing that they said was, could we have a slide? And we said, sure, okay, yeah, but bigger, dream bigger. And they said, oh, like a swing set and a slide? Said, no. So I got up and said, you know, we have the ability to leverage our relationships and finances, and, you know, we can get some stuff done here. So let's really dream it. And from that moment on, for the next few weeks, it became this really amazing thing of what if we had dances, and what if we had yoga, and what if we had potluck suppers, and what if we did all these things? So we said, all right, let's have at her. So in August, we held a barbecue. August 9th of last year, we held a community barbecue and had 50 people, which is pretty big for Portapique. And we rolled out what we were thinking. We wanted to expand their hall and renovate their hall a little bit, and then do a playground. And immediately people said, yes, we need to get this done. So we started what we call get stuff done days, because I often say we'll get shit done. And of course you can't put that on a poster. So we get stuff done days. We started in September. We had 3 through the fall before COVID kind of shut things down again. But this picture here is us ripping off some old light fixtures and tearing down. I think there were 5 layers of paneling, wood paneling, and easily that many wallpaper that we started to take off to get some drywall up and spiff it up a little bit. We then had a public rollout on October 2nd. We were interviewed by Global News. They had heard about the story and wanted to talk to us. So we rolled it out at that point, and we partnered with the Community Foundation of Nova Scotia as well to take individual donations. So money started coming in at that point, and we started doing some applications. So the fundraising kickoff was in October. We did do some hall upgrades, and we worked on the outdoor plan. And the outdoor build up, the playground, is almost actually close to completion. We're a little bit behind schedule on it because there were delays in getting some parts from Germany by shipping, but the playground's almost done. I'm going to have some pictures to show you. We've just finished defining the hall expansion and have final drawings, and I'll show you those as well. And then the indoor buildup will happen. The name came from, the name that we call this is the Portapique Community Buildup Project. And the whole idea is to rebuild the community and have the community members work to rebuild their own community. So as much as we are kind of driving the bus, the residents really are the tour directors, and they're the ones jumping in, and they're bringing hammers and saws, and they're building and creating and creating a healing environment where everyone can work together to re-strengthen the sinew of their community. One thing that Andrew was most upset about when it all happened was that he didn't know anybody well who had died that night. He did know Gabe, and they refer to him as Gabe, the shooter. Freaked me out the first time I heard them all say that. I think I cried the whole way home. But they knew him. This is very real. This isn't some random stranger who came into their community and did this. So being able to be there and to work with these people and to help them process through, and this certainly isn't going to fix it or change it, but it has given them the opportunity to feel like they're doing something productive and they're going to create a legacy that will far outlive them. So let's keep going. As I said, our partners, so we are kind of the bus driver. Community Foundation of Nova Scotia have come on board. They had set up a fund called We Rise Again fund.ca, and I'll have that on the last slide for you, where anyone can make individual donations for taxable receipts. We also have the Riverside Community Hall, which is what this is actually named, this little hall. And then John and Nancy Hudson are Portapique residents who own land all the way around the hall property. And they have agreed to sell us an acre to the left of the hall, PID, where we're going to be expanding the hall into. And then the project committee is made up of a few Rotarians and some local business people. Cobequid Consulting create natural playgrounds, and Rural Roots Engineering have created the building design and drawings for us as well. So we have had phenomenal response starting in last August, really. As soon as people in the community started hearing about it, the Home Hardware Distribution Center here called us and said, make us a list of whatever you need and we'll get it for you. And anyone we've asked has said yes. I mean, last week we had 210 yards of mulch donated and delivered. We've got, I can't remember how many square meters of sod coming, pit run, the geo fabric that goes underneath. Everyone has just been so generous, truly. So I'm quite sure that's going to continue. So the scope, now this is a little bit older. I'm going to get into more detailed drawing here, but this is the existing piece of land right now. And this gray box here is where the hall currently sits. We've come to discover through the research on this project that this little hall is actually the original settlers' church from the community. So it's a good 200 years old, if not a little bit more. And I've got some pictures of the beams. It's that old pagan beam construction. It's gorgeous. Once you get up into the attic, you can't see it right now. But the challenge is that this little hall right now sits across the line for the property line, technically. So it needed to be moved because of that, and also that the floor is rotten. So we thought, well, if we have to move it, we might as well move it and make it bigger. So it's going to move from this location back into this box here, and then we're building around it and creating an outdoor pavilion. The playground is in this area. And this is the piece of land that we're buying from the Hudsons, and there'll be some parking spaces there and then a ball field as well. So this was last fall as we were starting to clean out brush and trees. There was lots of alder and just kind of scrub brush there. It had been overgrown for a long time. So we had a number of days that we were just out there cutting stuff up and cleaning and trying to be careful to leave all the beautiful birch and maple trees that are there, but get rid of the scrub kind of stuff. This is what we were doing on Sunday. So this big monstrosity is something they call a log run. So you go upstairs here and there's a slide on the other side, or you can go up to another level and then come down this little corkscrew slide. And then you go out through kind of a balance beam thing here. And then you have to climb over a bunch of logs and there's netting, super cool. So this is the other side of it. And we spread out all this mulch on Sunday. It was a good afternoon, let me tell you. Got a lot done. Some of the other things that we're doing, there's a little amphitheater here on this side, small, but there'll be a hill that's been built up, and the little amphitheater here seating. Coming from the log run over towards the hall here, this is going to be a swing set as soon as they hang the swings, and the hill here, and there's a slide that's here. And then we have these great little play huts that are going to be on the ground and accessible. And they're not quite done yet, but hopefully at next month's Get Stuff Done Day, that'll happen as well. So outdoors as well, on the side of the building, we're going to have a pavilion, kind of an open air space, which will be multi-use, farmers market, flea markets, concerts, that kind of thing. It will attach, it's not exactly like this, but it will attach to the building and open onto that little amphitheater seating area as well. So this is the, go back. This is the inside of the building. The space here, the white space that you see, is the existing hall. So we're not sure right now whether we're going to disassemble it and then reassemble it inside, or whether we're going to pick it up and lift it and plunk it into place. That's still being determined. But that will be that's the existing space here. But they're going to build on an industrial kitchen on the left so that they can have community potlucks and dinners and weddings and that kind of thing. There are some offices, there are toilets, bathrooms here, an accessible bathroom, and these bathrooms are going to be accessible from the outside as well as inside. So it'll be open for the community, and people have already committed to being there to keep it clean, basically. We have expanded space on this side, and then there are barn doors here, which will open onto the outdoor pavilion. Inside, this was our first Get Stuff Done Day, and there's some of the many colors of paneling that you see us tearing down and replacing lights in the ceiling and just having a grand old time. That was such a good day. And it was just so wonderful to get out and help people and see people getting out and doing something. And indeed, it was a beautiful sunny day, like it has been these last couple of days. And I came out of the hall dragging a piece of paneling at one point, and a number of the families had brought their children with them. And there are 3 big maple trees on the front of the property. And as I came around the corner of the hall and I dropped my stuff, I looked over, and there were about a dozen children laughing and playing and climbing the trees and just being kids. And it hit me. That's why we're here. And one of the other Rotarians came out of the hall and saw me crying. He said, "What's with you?" And I gestured in their direction, and I said, if we had any doubt as to what we're doing here, that is what we're doing here. We are going to give these children something normal, something that isn't the bad man in the police car, something that they're going to be able to do to be just kids. And I got to tell you, that's how I felt every moment of this project, is a profound sense of gratitude to be able to have the opportunity to help these folks. It's been it's funny, I've often said that good things often come from bad situations or bad things. And truly, this has been the worst one could imagine. But yet it's allowed us to make new friends and to come together and strengthen this community. So I am so thankful to have the opportunity to do that. Moving along, because the floor is rotten and we have to move it, we figured, well, why not lift it up 8 feet and make it look kind of churchy, because it was a church originally. So that's going to happen as well. These are the new ones. So this we just got on Friday. This is hot off the presses. Don't know if you can see it. It's not particularly dark, but this is what the building will actually look like now. Because as we're working through the building design and what the community is looking for, the project parameters have actually evolved over the last year. So we've worked with Big Brothers and Big Sisters to have after school programs in the fall and in the spring. We've also partnered with the McPhee Center for Creative Learning, out of Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, and they do arts and music programming for children at risk. So they have created a satellite location, which will be based out of the new hall when it's done. And they have been running all this summer week-long day camps for kids. And there's 16 children from the community that have been swimming and crafting and learning to express their feelings and being out in nature. And it's just been an amazing opportunity. So because of that, because of all the things that are happening, they need storage for musical instruments and artwork, arts and crafts, that kind of thing. So it has evolved. So we've actually now added, this is the existing kind of drawing that you saw before with the bathrooms here and the kitchen and the hall and the pavilion outdoors. But we're now adding a second story on the left-hand side with some offices and multi-purpose workspace and storage as well. So as the project evolves, so have the parameters of the building, and that's what it now looks like. So it's going to have, so this is the original church building here, the hall, and then it'll add on the 2 stories on the left, the 1 story on the right, and then the outdoor pavilion. So we're pretty excited about that. Inside, as I had mentioned, they're going to be working with a company called Timber Heart out of the Annapolis Valley in Nova Scotia. And what they do is exposed beam renovations. So any building that's got this kind of artwork hidden in an attic, they're going to be able to come and restore for us. And this is what the attic actually looks like. You can see, oh, stop it. You can see the beautiful beams and the pegs there, all axe hewn. I think it's going to be fantastic when it's done. So we're pretty excited about that one. So coming on to costs, when I first started this last year, I said, you know, we're probably looking at least $500,000. And I think a couple of our members fainted at that point when I said it. But indeed, as the project continues to evolve, we're now at $822,000 price tag. We have been incredibly fortunate to have secured already $100,000 from the federal government, $150,000 from the provincial government, $70,000 from the municipal government, $40,000 from the Canadian Community Foundation, $25,000 from United Way, and I'm not done yet. So I have every confidence we're going to reach these numbers, but we're aiming for $218,000 in kind, and then $604,000 through cash donations or fundraising as well. We, as I said, yes, we've had 10,000 donation for land to cover the cost of the land that we're buying next door. The province was the first to come on board, and indeed we approached them last November for $50,000, and we had 2 ministers come out and tour the property and talk to Andrew and I got a call about a week later saying they support the project, but they're wondering if you'd like 150 instead. Let me think. I said, gee, I think we could do that. So then we approached the municipality, of course, the federal government, the We Rise Again Fund. We've had Big Brothers Big Sisters. We have had generous support from many Rotary clubs throughout the country, which is fantastic. We've put in some money ourselves. We've had the United Way Inspired by Compassion Fund and a wagon walk, which was a fundraiser by a couple of university students. So our in-kind goal is $188,800. We're about a third of the way there, I would say. And then we will be starting a community cash campaign probably before the end of this month. As soon as the playground is completed, we're going to roll out to the community as well to give them the opportunity for large cash donations. And we were adamant that we didn't want anything named. This is not going to be the Canadian Tire Portapique Hall. This is truly about the community. So we've told people that they'll be recognized, but it won't happen in the building. They'll probably get, we're thinking of some trees that we cut down. We'll make little plaques out of the tree trunk and put something on that they can hang in their building. But we really don't want this to be any kind of a testament to anybody outside the community. This is about hope and resilience and moving the community forward. So at this point, we're hoping that we're going to be able to get the building, the foundation poured, the building moved and framed in before December, and then work throughout the fall. We're very ambitiously hoping that we're going to be able to open around the anniversary in April. That might be a little bit touch and go at this point, but that's the goal that we're working on because we feel it would be an incredible story, again, of hope and resilience and what a community can do when they decide that they're not going to stand by and have that event as their legacy as well. So some of the projects or programmings, as I said, we've got the McPhee Center for Creative Learning, did the $57,000 summer camps. The Nova Scotia Remembers Legacy Society were the folks who put together the vigil last year. They have more or less wrapped things up, but they did have some community and education funds that they have now entrusted to our Rotary Club to manage. We've had Big Brothers Big Sisters programming after school. The Fundy Shore Community Health Board has reached out to us and want to be involved in the project in some capacity, and will probably base out of there in the end. And we also happen to be located in a Fundy UNESCO Geopark site. It was designated last summer. So there's some good opportunities and crossover there with the folks, and we've been chatting with everybody. Everyone we talk to wants to be involved. The answer is yes. When would you like it? So it's really incredibly, incredibly exciting to be involved in. So Rotary clubs can, of course, send a check. We'll take any checks that you might like to send to our address, and individuals may donate for a tax receipt to the WeRiseAgainFund.ca, which is through the Community Foundation of Nova Scotia. And there we are.